Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to take a look at the first-person competitive multiplayer game called Paladins. This is being developed by Hi-Rez Studios, known for making Smite and Tribes Ascend. The game has actually been playable in a closed beta since November 2015, and only recently this month did it go into open beta. Everybody can play it. It is a free-to-play title. And if you'd like a link to the website where you can find out more about the game or download it, check the video description. The multiplayer consists of 5 versus 5 combat surrounding objective-oriented gameplay that is also very fast-paced. At the beginning of the round, you can choose from one of 17 different heroes, and then you can further customize those heroes with basically a card loadout. So you can collect cards in this game, and you can use 5 of those cards to make each hero individual and play slightly different. You can earn cards through loot chests or buy them with in-game currency, and if anybody's at all worried about this being a pay-to-win style game, let me tell you from playing it briefly that it's not hard to get all the cards you need for the specific hero you're interested in. So at no point did I feel that somebody had an advantage over me because they spent more money in the game than I did. And you actually earn in-game currency at a fairly quick rate. So for the most part, if you are going to be spending actual money in this game, it's probably going to be for cosmetic items. There's 2 different game modes, Siege and Payload. Siege allows both teams to have equal opportunity to run towards the center of the map, and once one of those teams captures the central point, you will actually get a payload cart that you have to escort to the enemy team's base. Now, what's interesting about this is that having a team composition that's really good for capturing that central point might not be quite as good for escorting the payload. You cannot switch your heroes once you pick them at the beginning of the round, so it's definitely staying true to sort of that traditional MOBA team comp strategy where once you pick your team comp, you're kind of stuck with it and you better make it work. You can, however, modify your heroes further as the round goes on. You'll earn in-round points that allow you to get things for your hero like lifesteal or extra armor and health or more damage. And so you can kind of configure your hero a little bit more based on what kind of team comp the enemy team has. Now, when it comes to visual customization, there's some stuff that you'll pretty much earn on your own from just playing the game a lot that can change the color of your character or whatever, but there's also some legendary skins that totally changes up the look of your character. And actually, Hi-Rez Studios has given me some codes to some of their more rare skins, and I'm going to put those codes in the video description, and I'll also be posting a few on Facebook later today. Now, the character I'm playing here is Fernando, and he's a tank, and I actually like him a lot. He can do some pretty good damage in close quarters. He's got a cool deployable shield that he can put up to shield your teammates, and he's great for pushing the payload basically to the objective. Now, if the enemy team happens to get the payload at the beginning of the round, he can be a little bit trickier to use as you really need to coordinate your team defensively, but he is a lot of fun, and especially when you start stacking a lot of his points into extra armor, it can be very hard for the enemy team to take you out. Now, Fernando, like every other hero in the game, has 5 different abilities. You've got your left click, your right click, you've got an ultimate ability, and then 2 other support abilities. And I actually like this. It gives you quite a few different tools to use and increases the skill curve, because basically the timing of when you use your abilities and how frequently you use them is really going to determine how effective you are with your character. It's not quite as simple as some of the other games out there. Now, without question, there's many similarities and comparisons between this game and Overwatch. And before everybody jumps on the whole who copied who train, there's actually a pretty interesting post by the developers of Paladins citing their sources and showing off early builds of the game in which they had a lot of features that were not yet existent in other comparable shooters. So regardless of what you may or may not think about idea theft, one thing is for certain in game development is that there's almost always a lot of parallel thinking going on. And when the whole MOBA scene took off and everybody got crazy about MOBAs, many developers started working with different varieties of MOBAs that they could work on. Smite was certainly one of them, and Paladins is another variation on that formula. And one thing that I really do appreciate about Paladins is that it's just straight up a free-to-play game. Anybody can get into it, there's no entry cost, and it's not hard to get all the items or things you need to be competitive. Sure, it might take you a while to get every single card for every single character, but if there's a few characters that you're really enjoying playing, it won't take you that long to get all the cards that you need to be really competitive. Now, what I really like about the small player count, highly strategic team team-based games is that team composition is a really important factor, and so you really have to sort of complement and build off of what your teammates are playing. There's 4 different classifications of heroes in this game. You have frontline heroes, which are often tanks, but there's also ones like the dwarf who can put down shields and put up turrets. He is also a frontline hero. And then you have your damaging heroes, which are generally speaking glass cannons. They can deal a huge amount of damage, but they go down pretty fast if they get into a sticky situation. Then you have your support heroes, which can be healing and debuffing and buffing and stuff like that. And then you have your flanker heroes, which are exactly as they sound, designed for flanking. You don't necessarily want to be the brunt force in the attack. You want to sneak up behind the enemies and get a flank off, in which case you can do quite a bit of damage. And they usually also come with some tricky abilities for countering damage or lowering healing abilities for the enemies. And naturally speaking, I tend to gravitate towards the attacking class, although I did enjoy playing Fernando, and it's always good to have a good supporting class or tank class that you can play if your team needs it. My first pick though, from playing it a bunch, was Cassie. I just really enjoyed her. She has a bow and arrow with a lot of different arrow attacks. She's very weak. She can get taken out quickly, but she's got a great dodge ability that allows her to move around quickly, and then you can combo that dodge ability by doing more damage on your first shot after you dodge. So you can dish out a huge amount of damage with her if you know what you're doing. Then again, you can get killed very fast too, so it's sort of a risk versus reward system. Now I gotta say, I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how Paladins has played out. I wasn't sure what I was going to think about this game. Graphically, it's not necessarily going to blow your hat off, but it's still a decent looking game, and it's going to run fine on pretty much any system, which I imagine was Hi-Rez's goal when designing the engine. I also really enjoyed the card loadout system for each hero. It gives you ways of taking a single hero and modifying them a little bit more towards maybe your playstyle or a playstyle that you think you might need for a specific team composition, and it adds a lot more depth to the game. Also, having 5 abilities per character adds a bit more depth and strategy to how you play, so you're really going to need to be on the ball, and there's a lot of room for growth and knowledge in terms of how effective you can be. Now, I didn't have quite enough time to unlock the rank I needed to join competitive games, but that is something I'm looking forward to trying out, and perhaps I'll do it in a future video. Again, if you guys are interested in this game, there's a link in the video description to the website, and you can also download it on Steam. Definitely worth checking out considering it is a free-to-play title. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.